Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is, I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke, as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here, and I'm joined by Mary Ghawi-Tannous, the Vice President of Client Success at Patriots Tax Service, and also Cody Harrell, the owner of Rappahannock IT. Guys, how are y'all?
Doing
Fantastic.
Right.
Good. I'm glad you're here, and I know I just gave a name introduction, but if you wouldn't mind, if you would just introduce yourself a little bit further. Mary, you've been on the show before, but this one will be a whole lot more clear. So if you wouldn't mind, would you introduce yourself again?
Absolutely. My name is Mary, and I'm the VP of Client Success at Patriots Tax and Accounting. We do bookkeeping, payroll, business coaching, taxes, individual and businesses, and we serve the local community of Fredericksburg.
Awesome. Cody?
Yeah, so my name's Cody Harrell. I'm the owner of Rappahannock IT. We do managed IT services. We do computer repair, server hosting, website hosting. Really anything that involves IT is something that we take care of for you in the Fredericksburg area and pretty much nationwide. So.
Well, what I love I've had interaction with both of you. Mary, we've worked a lot together. Cody, we've been in circles, but you guys have a tremendous reputation. But what I love about both of you is your reach is beyond Fredericksburg, but you're definitely both Fredericksburg-based businesses. Mm-hmm. And you're doing business together right now. So, Mary, how did that come about?
Absolutely. So we're very happy to partner with Rappahannock IT. Basically, the reason why we selected them from all the companies that we worked with or we interviewed, I had a specific IT strategy when I spoke with Carlo about, what do we want to do with our IT infrastructure. And it came about because, we deal with sensitive information, and it was important for us to have the infrastructure that is absolutely top secure. So we invested so much in the software that we use for our accounting services, and we also wanted to make sure that our network is also to that high standards. I was looking for a company that allows us to do that systematic growth because we're growing rapidly. We tripled in revenue in 1 year.
Excellent.
We're very blessed to be working with amazing clients locally and around the area as well. So we want to make sure that we have the competitive advantage and we continue to serve to the level we seek. As well as that, all of that, we also wanted to make sure that we have the plan B. We see the world is changing dramatically, quickly. And based on my IT background and working with, technology for about 20 years, I wanted to make sure that our infrastructure allows us to be working from everywhere and anywhere, which, resembles, our, focus on making sure that our customers are taken care of no matter what happens. Because we have customers that depend on us every single day. So we've interviewed companies, and we, local as well as, the virtual ones or the online ones. And the reason why we ended up going with Rappahannock is for a few reasons. One, they're very friendly. When the whole communication was very calm, very professional, very pleasant, which to me is key. When you want to partner with somebody, you have to be aligned with them on the way they do business, and it was important for us. Also, they're top notch. I've tested a few areas working with them before communicating and connecting, and they've delivered. They're available all the time. So if they don't respond right away, they respond via email and say, we'll get back to you via X time. Let's do a meeting. Let's do this. Let's do that. So they were also creative. It's not like this is our services, this is the number, it is what it is, right? No, they were willing to sit down and create something that worked for us because we had specific needs, right? I didn't want to deal with the 800 support. I'm very, IT savvy. My background is not in IT in anywhere, but I wanted to work with somebody that knows and understands my capabilities as well. So I don't have to start from scratch. I don't want to have to do that troubleshooting, waste of time that typically you get, restart your laptop and do this.
Right.
Like, I know all of that. So Cody got to know all of this, and he basically responds right away. He knows, like, okay, Mary knows what she's doing. I go to him very specifically, and we tackle the problem right away. Basically, they really have a great reputation in the area. It's very clear from what they're doing and how they're doing things, and the feedback that their customers are giving us, right? the most important is they're local. We love to support local businesses, and although there's some solutions out there that may be cheaper, or maybe they offer flashy types of products, and we do this and we can do that, and they create a whole package that is very attractive. I also wanted to make sure that we support the local businesses. I have the ability to knock on his door and say, Cody, I need help. You gotta help me, because we have that demanding type of business, and we need to make sure that there's no downtime. So overall, this is really our focus. In addition, of course, the top focus, which is security. We deal with sensitive information, and we wanted to make sure that it's top notch and it's secure.
Well, Cody, what I know about Mary and Carlo is the high standards they place on themselves for their clients. They also project that with the people they want to partner with, and that's a good thing. If they're inconsistent with high standards in any area, it puts things at risk. And so they chose you. When you start with a client that has high standards, how does it make you feel? Do you think, oh no, or do you think, yeah? I mean, what's your first thought when a client says to you, these are the standards, and they're high?
No, I mean, I think it's very good to have high standards, especially running a company involving personal information and sensitive documents and stuff like that, because you don't want someone who is lousy handling that information. So for Mary and Carlo to come to us and show so much interest in securing their network and infrastructure and taking the proper procedures and not really saying what's the cheapest route or what's the best workaround, and we created a plan together that worked for her, and that also allows her to access her infrastructure with ease, but also have enterprise level security around it. So,
well, as business owners in a local town, so in Fredericksburg, all of us face the challenge of being local, loving local, supporting local, but also having a reach and the ability to care outside the zip code. So, Cody, how do you handle both of those? That you're a local business caring for local business, but you've also got to reach way beyond just the area of Fredericksburg. How do you do that?
We started in Fredericksburg, and this is always going to be our home, and we will always support what is our home. But that doesn't mean companies out there or other customers of ours who live in other states or different sections of the East Coast don't see our reviews online and want to utilize us. We even have a couple competitors that use us for managing their networks and stuff that they don't do. And there's no judgment. It's completely fine. We're just here to service the customer and make sure that the issue is resolved and that it's secure for them. So,
well, Mary, how do you guys do that? You're local, but your reach is beyond local. How do you do both?
It's absolutely the same. I mean, being local has a great advantage. I love people. I love to see people. I have to have people in our offices. It's just fantastic. You build a relationship, you make an impact, and you help them grow. And when they grow, it's basically, the reward for what we do. Is their success is our success. Right. And of course, again, having the right system in place, having the right tools in place, having the right team in place allows us to also service around not just, actually we work not only nation, we work even with expats globally. So we do taxes for international expats that are American but live abroad, just because we have that background and we have that ability to understand their needs, and we were expats ourselves. So we've done it, and we know exactly what it takes and what's needed and what the rules are to make sure that we service them as well.
So both of you have in common that you deal with, security, confidentiality, privacy is at the basis of both your businesses.
Yeah, security is the most important thing when dealing with the kind of information that I believe both of us handle. It's very sensitive and could be detrimental to a company and the client if it was lost, ransomware, anything that would compromise that data. So it is important.
Absolutely.
So when, I'd love to hear your answer for both of these questions. So Mary, whether someone's approaching you guys for CPA services or whether someone's approaching you for IT services, and they reach out to you and they're like, I'd like to talk to you about partnering with you. Typically, what's the first step that you guys take when you get that phone call or that email?
I'll let you go first.
All right. Basically, it's important for us to understand the needs. We're not in the business to just basically go after the dollar sign. That's not what we focus on. We focus on making an impact. We focus on making sure we understand what they're looking for and how we can maximize it for them. We educate them. We understand their story, and we educate them on what the capabilities and potential are, that we have the ability to bring to the table, in addition to the typical stuff like the payroll, the bookkeeping. So we share that knowledge that we were able to gather throughout all these years of experience, and understanding what they're looking for, and understanding, challenging sometimes what they're asking for, because sometimes they don't know what they don't know. Again, they're in the business to do what they love doing, but the bookkeeping and the accounting side of things is really not what they do. So we make sure that we also challenge that and put it on the table for them to make the best educated decision.
Yeah.
How do you get started? Someone calls and says, I think I need an IT service. What's the first thing you do?
The first thing we do is we just schedule an on-site evaluation. All of our consultations and diagnosis are free. We're not going to charge you to come out and see what you want to potentially work on with us. I don't feel like that's right. So we typically will go out. We'll go out on site, see what they have going on, what they're looking to achieve, and then we'll provide them a proposal, and then we go from there. And a lot of the times the deal's closed within the day, and yeah, that's pretty much. It's very straightforward. We are not a very pushy company. It's completely up to the customer. We're going to provide you our best solution at the time, and whether or not you want to go forward with it, we want you to feel comfortable choosing us, and that you do feel like your business is valued, and that anything you do with us is secure, and it is very important to us.
I want to mention something about the value, and I think that's key. As we hopefully our voices reach the whole community. One thing to really mention here is that I ask everybody, all business owners, don't focus only on the money. Don't focus only on the budget. Don't focus only, I understand there's a budget and you need to stay within that budget, and that's smart. You have to know your books. You need to understand how much you want to dedicate to a certain area in that business. But at the same time, I ask everybody to really think outside the box. You gotta evaluate the value that you're getting, even if you end up having to pay a little bit more. Because the bottom line is sometimes that little bit more can save you way more, and it allows you that growth. It allows you that ability to even get beyond where you are today. And working with people like Cody's team and himself, of course, it adds value. It's not about how much we're paying. It's about the full picture. It's about the value, right? So understanding that the skill set has a value, the reputation has a value, the knowledge has a value. Completing what you as a business owner don't have the ability to do has a value, right? So think about it this way. How much would it cost for you to hire somebody to do that business or that part of the work? Looking at all of that, in addition to how much are you losing because you're not having the right tools or system or skill set, and how much are you able to gain? So evaluating all of that, then make the decision. Going with a cheap, solution is not always the key. Is because that's going to set you backwards in a lot of times, and it's actually going to waste your time because you're going to end up having to look for another service because it's not going to work out.
Well, I want just a couple more things. I want to be mindful of your time, but Cody, as a business owner, but even more importantly, as a service provider, what's the danger of playing I'm the cheapest service in town?
That's what I like to call the race to the bottom. Because in the end, no one wins if you're just racing to the bottom. I think it's very important to be competitive, because that opens up the market for the actual users and the customers of the service that they're looking for. But in terms of being the cheapest, that's where you will see it in the service. You'll have longer response times, at least in our scenario, longer response times. You may not have the nicest software that's protecting your computers or environment. You may have janky support in terms of if you call them, they may not pick up, or it may be a one-man band, or we call them pizza techs because they make just enough to buy some pizza on the weekends. And that's not our goal here. We have plenty of staff at Rappahannock IT that is very knowledgeable, very highly skilled in their profession, and they're not cheap. Same thing goes for Mary and her people as well. People who know what they're doing in a specialized field are not cheap, and we try to bundle that in a way for the customer to be the most cost effective when if they were to hire an on-site IT person,
Mm-hmm.
you figure you hire an on-site IT person, they're going to be anywhere from 45 to 60 a year, managing your infrastructure, taking care of everything, computer setup, servers. But if you look at something like ours, we're typically 30 to 40% cheaper than hiring someone,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
which is where our cost value is presented to the customer. We are cheaper. You get access to about 10 of us at all times, and we do provide after-hours support, so 24/7. If you call after hours, 10 p.m., your computer's not working, you will get a person from Fredericksburg picking up the phone. We don't off-site any of our support. We try to keep the closest connection to Fredericksburg and our clients as possible. So.
Well, I've got one more question for each of you before we wrap up. And so, Mary, I'll ask you to go first. How would you and Patriots define customer service?
That's a very good question. I would say customer service, or I like to call it even customer success, because it's beyond the service. It's about the value, it's about the relationship, it's about the success for that company. So the way I look at it, doing customer success for about 20 years now, it's really my favorite topic, or an area to talk about, is that, one, you have to understand, it starts with understanding the needs. It starts with understanding what is the purpose of what I'm putting on the table here, and what am I looking to accomplish based on their needs, right? It's being open to feedback. It's being open, and that's key, because again, any customer service or customer success focus, if they're not open for feedback, then there's no growth. And to me, they're not continuing to get to that high standard of support and service. So taking that feedback, continuing to improve, delivering and committing and standing behind the product that you offer, that's key. So don't walk away from something that you've committed to do, even if you don't succeed, right? Make sure that you continue to do the best to deliver. Make sure you stand behind whatever you've promised. If there's a conflict, sit down and make it a win-win. To me, that's customer service. That's the level that we deliver to at Patriots Tax, and we seek in the partners that we work with.
Fantastic. Tons of notes to be taken on that. So,
Yeah.
Cody, customer service, what is it?
Customer service is very simple for us. We want to make sure that the customer is happy at the end of the day after interacting with us or doing a project with us. If they have something installed, if something's not working right, I want to know. I am always very open to feedback in terms from the customer. I want to know if we did something wrong. I want to know so we can fix it and correct it and make sure that the customer is happy. And I mean, it's pretty simple. We're willing to go to lengths to make sure that the customer is happy if we were to accidentally mess up, or if something isn't even related to us. Like we've had incidences where a customer thought that we were Verizon, and they were mad at us because we still were charging them for their internet when we switched them over to something else. And after we talked to them, and they were very angry, threatened to write a Better Business Bureau review. And after just going to that customer and talking to them and kind of explaining, hey, this is what we do. This is actually not our realm, but we even offered, we said, hey, we'll call Verizon for you. We'll take care of it. Like, we'll make sure that this is canceled. And that's the length that we're willing to go to even cover for other companies, just to make sure that that customer that we are working with is still happy at the end of the day. I don't want anyone to ever feel like we provided a bad service, and if we did, I would want to know 100%.
Well, guys, fantastic. I love seeing your partnership. I love seeing how you're both similar. It makes sense that you're good. You're just good business partners. So as we wrap up, Cody, what's the best way to get in touch with you guys?
The best way is call. Our number is 540-940-2773. And if you have any IT projects, really anything IT related that you need help with or want support on, you can give us a call.
And that's local, national too, right?
Yes. So we do support Fredericksburg and the surrounding areas, including pretty much the whole eastern seaboard. But we do have clients over in California and spread throughout the U.S. So our limit is not only limited to Fredericksburg.
And Mary, the best way to get in touch with Patriots?
Definitely give us a call, 540-412-5250. We're on Instagram, follow us as well, and we're very responsive. We're on Facebook, and of course through our website.
Okay.
I gotta
Guys,
step it
thanks.
up.
What's that?
I gotta step it up.
Well, everyone, thanks so much for listening and watching, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks so much.
The time it takes to buy a car buying just got easier. Pohanka365.com lets you complete as much or as little of the car buying process online. Pohanka365.com. Car buying simplified. Anytime, anywhere.